What is up, guys? Here to do a second podcast number 2, Harvcast, maybe? I haven't really decided on exactly how that name is going to flow, but Harvcast seems to be pretty good. Anyway, sorry for no camera this time around. My camera's acting a little funny, so I did this without it. Deal with it, I guess. Been having a little technical issues in the background, but I'm going to talk about some things that have been going on about the channel in general, some stuff that's coming out for some pretty cool games, and yeah, just kind of going to ramble around for a little bit. It is just me again this time. Maybe we'll switch things up. Maybe next time we can get somebody else in here to chat with me. But first and foremost, I do want to again start with saying thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether or not you've been joining Patreon or the membership here on YouTube. It is very much appreciated. I very much appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for that. If you want to join something like that, we'll put links in the description, and I'm going to leave it at that because it's always weird talking about this stuff anyway. One of the things that's really I was going to say bothering me, but the truth is that I've allowed it to bother me is I run a pretty tight ship on the comments that I see on a lot of the videos. If there's constructive criticism, I'm all about it. But when people are just being negative for the sake of being negative, I typically just remove it. Every now and then I will let it get the better of me and post back and things like that happen. But predominantly you guys probably don't see a lot of it because I do in fact remove it from the comments because I just don't want this to be a place for stuff like that. With that being said, it is starting to take a toll a little bit. Been seeing that crap a lot, and it's really frustrating when you spend a lot of time creating things just to have somebody try to pick it apart or just complain that they don't like it. I get tired of that. I don't really understand the point. I don't think I have enough energy to follow videos and just post negative crap on it. I don't know. Maybe people are just bored or know that they don't have to deal with the repercussions of their keyboard warrior ways. At any rate, I've also been looking at that and things that may change around with the channel. Really what it boils down to is I'm finding myself in the same predicament I was in before, probably maybe about a year ago, where I was really just putting a whole lot of time into creating content here, and I enjoy doing it, and I really would love to turn this into like a dream job sort of thing. But the truth of the matter is that this channel's been here for almost 4 years at this point, and I don't know if we're ever really going to get there. That's not me being negative, it's simply me being realistic, I think. But I guess we'll have to see when further down the road. Anyway, more importantly, what I want to talk about is something that I've been hinting at and meandering about is I don't want to be just an ARC channel. And I feel like a lot of people have come here for the mod reviews. Some of the gameplays that we do, people stick around for, but the vast majority of people stick around for the mod reviews at this point. And to be honest with you, there's going to come a time where I'm not going to be doing that anymore. And I think the time is going to be sooner than it is going to be later. So I apologize if that bums people out. Sorry, but I'd rather make content that I really just want to make. And I don't like the idea of being pigeonholed inside of a certain game, just doing mod reviews for a game for forever. Especially with ARC 2 coming out. I mean, is the need or want for stuff like this even going to be much of a thing? With that being said, I will do a mod review this coming Monday and the following Monday. After that could tentatively be the end of them. Again, I know there's a lot of people that just come here for that, and I understand if that means you don't want to support the channel, if that means that you don't want to follow the channel, if you want to unsub and do all that stuff. I understand. I don't necessarily like it, obviously. It bums me out a little bit. I would have hoped you tried some of the other content out. Maybe it's just not your jam. I don't know. But I'd much rather do more gameplay, cinematic sort of gameplay, adventure style storytelling videos. And I don't really... There's not really going to be a place for tutorials and how-tos and reviews if I'm doing something like that. So what I'd like to move further into is something kind of like the 100 days of gameplay that we've done with particular games, and ARC to be included. I'm not saying I'm never going to do ARC content again. There's still going to be ARC content, just not quite as much of it. But the truth is that playing the same... I look at a lot of other YouTubers out there that just play one game all the time, every time, and they upload every day about it. And to be frank, I don't know how they do it. It would drive me crazy. It's already starting to drive me crazy. I just can't imagine, as an avid gamer and somebody who really enjoys the video game industry, I can't imagine just knuckling down on one game for the rest of my life. Like and it seems maybe that's just what works for them. Maybe that's what's getting them views. Maybe they sincerely really enjoy it. I don't know, but that's not me. I'm not going to sacrifice my what I'm genuinely interested in for the sake of getting more views or something like that, which it seems kind of productive seeing as I kind of want to do this full time, but you know, it is what it is. With that being said, that's really kind of the bigger change, really. The mod reviews are going to be phased out and I'm just going to stick to gameplay sort of videos, but I want to be more immersive, and if you haven't checked out any of the gameplays previously, please go back and just give them a try. I really appreciate it. it takes a little bit more time. It's not just simple gameplay. There's a bit of a storytelling. There's a bit of improv going on there. Some of it's kind of laid back. Sometimes it's not, but I enjoy making a more adventure of it, making it more like a TV show and less like somebody just sitting around playing a video game. I'm getting a little bit better at it, but I'm also self-taught with all this editing, so I'm getting there. I'm learning a lot too, though, and I feel like I'm learning a little bit each time I pick up a new series of a game. I'm trying to test new things out, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. So far, the couple of games we've been doing the 100 days gameplay in right now was Grounded, which I've actually recorded the last episode of Grounded to finale for that. Right now, we're currently playing Generation Zero as well. And now we're also playing Ark on the Chasm map. The Chasm map is a really fun map, but I don't know if it's going to last 100 days or not. I'm not sure exactly how much there is still to still do on that map. I'm more than likely going to be flipping to Fjordur pretty soon-ish. I'm not sure if I'll do like just kind of a branch right over into Fjordur and do 100 days on Fjordur, or if I'll finish out Chasm and then, take a break and then go to Fjordur. It's hard to tell. I'm not sure. With Ark 2 getting pushed back till next year, I don't know if we'll see another map for Ark or not, so maybe it might be nice to kind of stretch it out, and that way I can play both maps and have some fun with it. But that's pretty much it for right now. So the last episode for Grounded was recorded, and that'll be edited, and that'll probably come out this week. And that was a super fun journey, and I had a lot of great fun time. That was a really fun game to play. I really enjoyed myself, and it really kept me on my toes a lot. And so with that being said, I am going to limit it to, I'm going to take a bit of a break with doing, because right now I'm doing like 4 uploads and then 2 live streams a week at this point, which is really hard for me to do. It takes a lot of time to record. It takes a lot of time to edit, and with the live streams. And then I also have a 9 to 5 as well, and with a family and everything. It's hard to finagle all that in, plus have some free time to actually enjoy myself, which doesn't seem to happen very much lately. I need to take care of me first. So I'm probably going to roll it back to 2 videos a week, maybe like a Tuesday, Thursday, maybe like a Monday, maybe Monday, Wednesday, maybe do like a Monday, Wednesday upload, and then Friday, Saturday still doing our live streams. I'm still going to have the community server for Ark, and I still think that's a fun thing to do on Fridays, but then on Saturdays, I think I'm going to roll over into an actual like voting system like we were doing. Like I'm actually going to stick to it and just play some other game. Any other game, whatever it is, I'll just take a list of the games I have installed and run through them and see what people want to play, and we'll just stick to it that way. I really like the idea of being able to do 100 game days into a lot of these series, because for a lot of reasons. One, there's a clear stopping point, so it clearly, like, I can keep myself organized and on track that way. But then also I could play a game that someone may like and may want to pick up, but then maybe not hit everything that's going on in that game, to give them a little bit of aha moments when they go play for themselves, So I kind of like that idea. Plus it also leaves the option open to maybe live stream some of that stuff later on and maybe get to those points. So it keeps things a little bit more organized, and I think it's a little bit more fun. Plus I'm able to swap games up fairly easily. With that being said, right now, like I said, we have plenty of time with Ark and plenty of time with Generation Zero, but if there are other games that you would like to see done in that sort of format, please leave something in the comments or check out our Discord. Really, it comes down to a game that I would need to be able to track the day and night cycles in, like the in-game day and night cycles. If I can track something like that while playing it, it has potential to be something that I can do. There's a few other options with a lot of the gaming news that's coming out lately, and I wanted to talk about some of that too, because I'm really hyped up about some of it. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at this point. I really wish this would have came out sooner. I meant to put this out in June, and here it is July, and then I'm putting it out. I apologize for that, but I am making it work the best that I can. I'm going to try to keep these down to once a month. I really would like to get somebody else in on the next podcast to just sit around and talk about gaming stuff in general. Would be a lot easier having a second or maybe even third person here to have that conversation. But if that's something that you're interested in, and if you're a gaming content creator or maybe a mod creator or whatever, shoot me a message, shoot something on the comments here, email me, harvscorner@gmail.com, or hit me up in Discord, let me know, whatever the case is. I'd love to definitely collaborate with a lot of other content creators in the gaming industry. I think that'd be kind of fun. Rolling on over into some of our gaming news, and I'm going to start with Ark because I kind of talked about that previously. So it looks like Ark 2 got pushed back till 2023. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not excited. I'm not. And I feel like this whole podcast is going to be like a Demi Downer sort of thing, and that's not really what I mean it to be. So here, I can tell you what it looks like, and then I can tell you what my hopes are. Let's reverse. I'm going to tell you what my hopes are, and then I'm going to tell you what it looks like. My hopes are that all of these cool features and extra things that have been talked about thus far are in addition to the current things that we already have in Ark. I want the sandboxy building and exploring and taming dinos and breeding them and fighting stuff and all of the stuff that comes along with that, plus all these different like combat systems and things like that that they're talking about incorporating into Arc 2. That's what I hope this is. Keyword hope. But I have a bad feeling that this is really going to be a completely different game, with the exception of some dinosaurs and a loose base storyline. But it looks like it's going to be made more of like an adventure series than it really is going to be a survival series. And I got to tell you, if that's something they're going to do, why would you even call it Arc 2? Call it anything else and it would probably be a really fun game, but it really is annoying to me when a sequel to something comes out and it barely resembles it. Yeah, I hope not. I hope not. I really do. I'll be honest with you, a little jaded when it comes to celebrities piping in for video games these days, to be clear too. You know, Norman Reedus, Death Stranding, not a huge fan. I like Norman Reedus, didn't really care for the game. Cyberpunk, I don't even want to talk about that anymore. Keanu Reeves, I love you, but that game was a letdown. Vin Diesel, I'll be honest, there's only so many Fast and Furious movies I can take before I lose my shit, but all in all, I gotta say, he's pretty cool guy. Seems like it'd be kind of fun, but I don't know, man. I feel like this is just a way to hype up a game to get it attention when it doesn't actually offer what it should be. And I think you're gonna kill your fan base. It's not really a smart idea to me. To me, you take the whole idea behind a sequel is to take everything that everybody loved out of the first one, fix all of the crap that they hated, and then incorporate a bunch of new stuff and keep running with it. Like, you had a template. You have a template to work with to make better and improve, right? Perfection's impossible. But if you keep striving for that, it keeps you in a forward state of momentum, and you can always build up and recreate and reinvent. And I just feel like this is just not a good thing that they should be doing. I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, I hope I am dead wrong with this. I hope I eat every word that I just said about Arc 2 when it drops, but past history has told me when stuff like this happens that it's not going to be something that I'm interested in, and maybe it will appeal to the masses. Maybe it'll be a huge hit and everybody will love it, but for people like me, we're just going to be bummed out. We're going to find something else to play. So I'm hopeful, but not too hopeful. In better news, Conan Exiles. If you have not played Conan Exiles and you enjoy survival games, I don't know what you're doing. You need to try this game out. I still think, even for as popular as it was at one point, I still think it's an underrated game. Conan Exiles came out a while back with the map on the exiled lands, and the whole idea was that you were exiled, you were hung up, left in the desert, and you were trying to figure out a way out, essentially. You had to deal with elements, you had to deal with food, hunger, building, all sorts of crazy creatures and other NPCs that would try to kill you. But then you could also, to an extent, find animals and use them as pets or mounts, and then you could also find people to essentially convince to do your bidding, is probably the nicest way to say it. Anyway, I think it was a huge hit, and it was super fun. And they came out with a second map with the Isles of Sipta, which, I'll be honest, I was a little turned off at first. They did a lot of updates, and it was still fun to me, but I wish they would have went a different way with the map layout. However, it was a fun game, and it was solid. It was solid, and it worked really well. Not a whole lot of glitchy crap going on. There was stuff here and there, but for the most part, it was a really well put together game. I had a lot of fun with it. But there was something that was missing that there was always kind of said that was going to be implemented and never was, and now we're hearing about it. So sorcery, which is essentially sort of kind of like magic, but that stuff is going to be introduced into Conan. So you're going to have that. That's just part of a big, massive update. There are going to be some equipment overhauls. There's going to be some leveling up features, the way you level up proficiencies with certain things. That's going to be overhauled a little bit. They're also introducing microtransactions, which in the beginning, when I hear those words, I just immediately think of like Fallout 76, and I just want to punch something really hard. But I actually kind of understand for once why they're doing it. So you have to understand exactly how some of the Conan Exiles DLC has been going on for a long time. Conan Exiles has always released the DLC, which has always included like skins or weapons or building materials, or maybe a little bit here and there to a certain map, and it's been isolated, and you pay that for that DLC and you get that part installed. I believe, from my understanding, the way that I've read some of the stuff is that you are going to be, let's say you're brand new to Conan, you just bought the game, you load up Isles of Sipta or Exiled Lands or whatever with the sorcery add-on after it's already on, and you find yourself going, man, I really wish I had this style building structure. Well, I think the idea is to be able to buy it in game and immediately be able to use it versus having to log out, go to Steam, go to the game page on Steam, find the DLC, pay for it, install it, reload the game, start it all over. I think this really just makes it kind of immediate from wallet to hand to be able to use. And if that is the case, I actually kind of approve of microtransactions like that. What I don't like is when people, Fallout 76, use microtransactions in a way to just get money out of people and as an excuse to not address bigger things going on. Currently, I don't think Conan really has any big, huge flaws in it. I think it's a really well put together game. I really wish they would have done a different map other than Isles of Sipta. I felt like you got some interesting weather effects and some different events and things like that, but all in all, the map felt you're on an island, but the Exiled Lands felt like an island because you had an invisible barrier that went all around and it was wide open desert dunes, so you felt isolated already. And the biomes honestly are pretty comparable between the both of the maps, so it almost felt like they just reorganized the biomes, added some features, and here you go. I would have liked to see, and this is the part where I just need to like win the lottery so I can help people to do these things. I would have loved to see like a chain of islands all kind of tied together and sort of maybe started to introduce things like rafts or small boats or something like that to travel back and forth. Maybe incorporate some underwater sea life, because that's kind of missing right now in Conan. Or even, I think the Exiled Lands had an update where you had to go underwater into like these underwater temple caverns and go inside there and fight monsters, something like that. You could have took something like that and really ran with it, and I felt like they just kind of made more of the Isles of Sipta, or more of the Exiled Lands in a way. So, long story short, it is supposed to be out Q3, so this update should be happening within the next few months, and quite honestly, I'm really excited for it. This would be something I would definitely jump back into 100 days gameplay of. I think it'd be super fun to do. More on the survival gaming sort of genre. Grounded's actually supposed to be fully released out of early access, out of that beta, and supposed to be fully released. The whole yard's supposed to be open, adding all sorts of new stuff, and I'm excited for that one, honestly. Grounded was probably one of the best survival sort of style games that I've played in a long time. The reason why I loved it so much was the idea that you never felt completely invulnerable. I never got to that end game feeling of feeling invincible. I always felt like I was kind of hanging on the ledge at most times. There were sometimes I felt a little bit confident, but usually it was proven to me later on that I shouldn't have been confident. But the idea of you didn't really need a fantastic environment or this crazy setting. You just needed to shrink the person down teeny tiny and deal with all of the crap that they would probably experience in their own backyard. And I like that. It was played out really well. Very Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, obviously, but it was a super fun game, and I really liked the mechanics and how it played. So I'm really looking forward to having a huge yard to play in, the whole yard to play in, I should say, and teaming up with some people. That would be one I would love to stream with some friends and chill out and hang out and play that and run from giant spiders that terrify me. Not too sure on the date on that one. I believe that is probably sometime this year as well, so that could be something else to play for a stream. Not necessarily something I would touch for 100 days in, because I feel like I already did it recently, so I probably wouldn't do that, but it would definitely be something I would live stream. Top it off, Raft. Raft is actually going to be introducing its final chapter to the game, as well as adding some intermittent things along the beginnings of the storyline. Now, I know a lot of people that probably watched the gameplay of Raft probably weren't a huge fan, because it was a bit more laid back, a bit more puzzle solving, a bit more relaxed exploring, but honestly, I kind of like that. And if you really thought about it, how that game originated, I'm not sure if you guys know that, but essentially this was a product of a few people in college working on a project, and this is the game they came out with. And if you look at it from that angle, I gotta say it's pretty damn impressive. The AAA games with millions and billions and millions of dollars and a huge team can't seem to put a game together that works right. 3 guys going to college seem to make it work just fine. That's not good. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be really fun. Again, probably not something I do 100 days in. Maybe I pick up where I left off and finish those last 30 game days in. I'm not entirely certain yet, but that is a super fun game that I would recommend people check out. I think it had a lot to offer, and it was a nice, relaxing game, honestly. I feel like you need that sometimes with a lot of the crazy on the edge of your seat games that have come out these days. Something very calming and just chilling and relaxing like Raft, I think, is probably a pretty good solution. Lastly, Valheim. Valheim added a biome a little while back, but never actually really populated it and had everything in it. That was the Mistlands. Now, if you're familiar with Valheim, you had a few different biomes. You had the swamp, you had like the highlands, you had the forest, you had the meadows, you had the ice, the snowy biome. The Mistland was kind of like a swamp, but not really, more like a almost dark rainforesty kind of, like jungly kind of feel to it. But it didn't have any actual, there was nothing in it. There was no animals or spawn-ins or resources or anything like that. And apparently this is supposed to add on to all that stuff. Valheim is another one that I think flew under the radar as far as I actually love it. There was no like huge advertisement for Valheim. It just blam right in our laps and we got to play it, and I really enjoyed that. And that was another one that just took very, very subtle changes to a survival game and made it work really well. The food system in Valheim, I think, was perfect. The idea that you didn't really have to drink water, but you had to eat food, and then food increased your max health, and you could eat up to 3 different types of food. You couldn't eat the same thing, but if you mixed and matched them, what you'd find is you got more health and more stamina depending on what you were doing. So later on, when you learned how to make better food items, you could actually get a higher max health and a higher max stamina. It didn't kill you for not eating, but it did put you at a significant disadvantage. And I think that was really smart and a really good way to do things. It kept you on your toes for the most part. The party system worked out really well. The idea that every time you played was a random procedurally generated map, which was pretty neat. You never really knew what to expect. And at first I was a little turned off to the graphics, but once I realized it was very much an artistic standpoint, I really started to enjoy it. Plus the game is really super small, and there's a lot of really fun mods for it, actually. Highly recommend Valheim Plus. If you're using Valheim, try Valheim Plus. You will not regret it. At any rate, I believe that update is supposed to be out this year at some point in time too, so that could potentially be another one that I would go back and do 100 game days in of. That definitely keeps very straightforward track of the game days in Valheim, so that could be very easily done, and I had a lot of fun playing it before. Currently, Generation Zero is probably one of the funner looter shooter games I've played in a little bit, and I'm starting to understand that there is much more to this game than meets the eye. When I first started playing, I figured that it was like, okay, it's Red Dawn but in Sweden and there's robots. It's essentially what I was looking at. But the more and more I'm interacting with the game, the more and more I'm actually realizing there's quite a lot more to it if I actually pay attention and not rush through it. That game can go from 0 to 100 in a blink of an eye, and I really have fun with it. It's done really well. I love the sounds. I love how the robots react. The feel of the weapons are really fun. All around, just a fun time, with the exception of the bicycles. I don't like the bicycles. Anyway, we're about 20 game days into that one, and that one's super fun. The views have been pretty low on it, but to be honest with you, it seems like if I'm not playing Ark, the views are pretty low. Well, sorry, format's changing. I don't want to play an Ark till the day I die. I want to play other games and have fun with other stuff. With that being said, because this is a community and because I want your input, if there's a game out that you think would fit into this, throw it in the comments. Throw it in the comments. Please throw it in the comments. I don't care what it is. Even if it's something that I might actually, and I've been thinking about this because this has been a thing where I've always told people I'm not doing, right? I've always said, no, I'm not playing Minecraft. I don't like it. However, to be fair, I've only ever played Minecraft for all of about 10 minutes. And because of how huge and crazy that game is now, the idea for the amount of hilarity would take place from me not knowing what the heck was going on actually adds a reason why I would honestly think about doing it. I don't know if I'm 100% certain on that one yet, but it's a possibility. But I would need a lot of help with setting up that game if I decided to do it. I've seen a lot of like shaders and things to make it actually look pretty decent. Maybe I'd have to find somebody that knew how to set all that stuff up and work on it. But anywho, I'm not shutting that one completely off. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I think I should be open-minded to other games. And if I'm going to be, then I should be open-minded to all of them, not just ones that I immediately knee-jerk reaction to. But at any rate, like I said, leave something in the comments. Let me know what you think. And what I was really getting at in the beginning, the channel's not really going to go anywhere. I'm not giving up on the channel, but I'm starting to really realize, this is like 4 years in and we're at what, 8,600 subs. And as much as I'd love to be farther than that, I understand, and I'm grateful for the audience that I do have, but I need to switch things up to make sure that I'm having fun with it. And if I'm not having fun with it, there's really no point in me putting as much effort into it as I currently do, and there's a lot of time that goes into it. I'm self-taught with a lot of the editing, and so it takes me much longer than probably most competent editors would to edit some of these videos and get everything done right. And it's difficult. I'm still learning a lot. I have really hard problems with audio. That is definitely something that I'm still trying to figure out. But I just need to change things up. I need to change gears a little bit and really start to find out what I'm really interested in the content creation, instead of just making a little bit of everything or just what people want to see within reason. There needs to be a balance, I guess, is what I'm getting at, and I'm trying to figure out what that balance is. And right now, I think I know for sure that I want to do gameplay as content here, and that I still want to do podcasts, and I'd love for the podcast part to take off if I got involved with other content creators and mod creators and people in the gaming industry in general. I think that would be a fun thing to be able to do. And, if there's something like that took off, I'd really like to do that more often. I find that the more and more people that I talk to that are involved in stuff like that, the more I learn that I never really thought about before. And I end up coming away a little bit more enlightened in a way. So being able to have those open discussions on a platform like this, I think would be super fun to do. So again, not to beat a dead horse, but if you're interested in that stuff, shoot me a message. Let me know. With all that out the way, we are getting sort of kind of close to having 10,000 subs, and there's a few features that the channel gets unlocked at 10,000 subs, and I'd really appreciate your help getting there. But there's an option to do charity events, to like kind of link them in and what's the word I'm looking for here, to kind of incorporate them directly into like live streams and events like that. And I do think once I get to that point of 10K, I'd like to do like a fairly longer stream than usual, and to incorporate some sort of charity event. And I think that once we got to that point, we would do some sort of community vote or talk about things or events and things that really are foundations that mean a lot to us. Maybe pull together one and do like a voting system and do that. Because the channel is smaller, I can't guarantee that we'd have a huge impact, but the idea of being able to help out, there's definitely a few that I have in mind, and I'd like to get together when we get to that point of being able to do something like that. I think it's really important to help out in a lot of these other organizations when people can, for sure. But anyway, that is something that was posed to me that someone else asked me about, and I've actually been doing my own little research in it, but I don't really have the option to. YouTube Live is actually, the live streams have actually gotten a bit more features in it so far. I haven't been able to play with all of them because I don't have access to all of them. However, there is an option now to actually host other streamers. So for instance, as the stream is at an end and we know someone else that's streaming, I can redirect them to them, and it kind of just flows the people that are already in our stream to someone else's stream. So I think that's a pretty cool idea. That might be something I start messing around with, just to kind of spread some love around to the other gaming streamers out there. I think that'd be kind of fun. Maybe even some of our community members, maybe they'll be streaming and we'll do something like that. What else? I think there's a few other things that got added into there. I think gifting memberships, I think, showed up, which is, if you're familiar with Twitch, it's like gifting subs, like you can do that. I think that ended up being a thing now too. I think that's an availability on the live chat, but there's a few other, I feel like I'm missing a few other features, but I've been noticing that YouTube's really been stepping up as far as our live streams go, but I think they've been trying to push that a lot more lately, which is, it only kind of makes sense, right? Like if you already do live streaming and you're already a fairly big corporation or company, you should probably be adding all of the different features that a lot of other places have, right? I feel like there's a constant battle, an unsaid battle war between Twitch and YouTube. And for a while there, Twitch really had the upper hand because of all its features and its interface. And it always seemed funny to me because YouTube's owned by Google. The budget for this has got to be insane. Like, you have the tech, you have the ability to start incorporating some of these solutions. So it is really interesting to see them start doing that, which I think is going to make for a bit more competition between YouTube and Twitch at that point, which is probably pretty healthy. Everything changes. It's all changing. Hopefully not for the worst. I hope you guys do understand. Like I said, if you choose not to support the channel anymore, if you choose to walk away from it, I completely understand. I don't hold it against you. I'd be a little bummed out, but I don't hold it against you. But I just need to shift things in a different direction, and I need to spend a little bit less time constantly recording and editing, and really take a step back and look at exactly the type of content that I want to put out. And I need to balance that with some of the things that you guys want to see. So what I'm really getting at is, I want to do gameplay videos, but I want you to have some say in what games are going to be in those gameplay videos, is really what I'm boiling down to is really just what I'm boiling down to at that point. But that's enough out of me. I think I've rambled on for enough now. Yeah, I've rambled on for enough. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we'll have one of the last mod reviews, to be fair. We'll have a mod review coming out tomorrow, and then we'll have the same typical upload that we usually do. Tuesday will not be an upload as of yet because, well, I'm sorry, Tuesday will be the last episode of Grounded. The next following week, we're going to the week after next, we'll probably reorganize how the uploads happen. But stay tuned, check our Discord. You can always shoot me PMs if you have questions, or shoot me an email or something like that, whatever works best for you. But thank you for being here. If you're here and positive and supporting the channel, I very much appreciate you. And if you're a negative Nancy, I hope that you don't come back. That's all I got. See ya.